At the beginning of every year, I put out a planty wish list, and 2025 is no different. I put out my wish list plants into the world in hopes that I could potentially add them to my collection during 2025 or later. I mean, I'm never really picky. I'm never like actively seeking out trying to get these plants for the most part. The thing is, a lot of the time I don't know what I'm expecting when I am coming into getting these plants, and I don't know whether or not they'll actually do well for me in my collection, but I want them for some reason or another. And so I thought it'd be interesting to go over my 2025 plant wish list plants that I have got this year and talk about whether or not they were worth it, and I guess kind of whether or not I regret getting them. I don't regret any of these. Every plant that I get, whether it goes well or not, is a learning process and a journey, and I'm always trying to learn more and better myself like that, and so I don't regret them, but like, would I do it again? I don't know. But before we get into all of that, I want to say, if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. I want to say as well, these plants are in no particular order. I'm going to bounce around whether they're worth it or not, and you're just going to have to find out. I think I've got 8 plants here to talk about today, and ooh, I suppose we could start with one that I got fairly early on. This plant was a wish list. As soon as I saw it was like starting to become much more available, I added the Musa Florida to my wish list. Oh my goodness, I am so happy that I added this one to my collection. It has been a fairly easy grower for me during this time, fairly regularly putting out new growth. It's not an insane looking plant from the side, but because its grow light is coming from the top, that doesn't really surprise me. It's been living in my Millsbo cabinet for this entire time, and so far I think it's liked it in there. It hasn't quite grown out of it yet, maybe in a couple more leaves time, but honestly, watching new leaves come into this plant has been such a joy. Everyone is different because of the like sort of variegation pattern. Some have slightly more, some have slightly less, and it's really cool to like find out when a new leaf is coming in what it's going to be. And this one has sized up decently in the time I've had it as well, so I would highly recommend the Musa Florida if you're thinking about it. I definitely say it is worth the money, but I definitely think it's going to be going down in price even further. Like, it's getting more and more accessible like every month. I've noticed they're like popping up everywhere these days, so maybe wait a little bit if you want to get it for even cheaper, but I definitely think it's worth the money now. This one here is my begonia Sinbad, and yes, it looks a little bit worse for wear, but I think that is purely my own fault. I have really enjoyed having my begonia Sinbad this year. I got it as like a very small cutting, and it has grown loads, but then I got a little bit scissor happy with it, and I started sharing it with as many people as I possibly could. I brought some to swaps, I like sold some cuttings, and basically anyone who asked for it, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I can give you cutting. And so I just kind of chopped and chopped, and I think it's made it look kind of raggedy, unfortunately, but like I said, that is my doing. That is nobody else's doing. It's not the plant's fault. I still think this one is worth it, even if it doesn't look like it is, which is a bit of a shame. I'm hoping that maybe in the new year I can get it to look a little bit better. Maybe come springtime, I'll give it like a big prune back, and over the growing season it can hopefully grow out a little bit bushier, and I can hopefully get it to grow slightly nicer, because it is just looking a little bit worse for wear at the moment. I do have it in semi-hydro, no drainage, and it has really loved that. All of my begonias I put in semi-hydro because they're so incredibly thirsty that I feel like in my care, with my tendency to underwater, no drainage is almost necessary because otherwise I can't give them what they need. And even in this, it ends up drying out faster than it'd probably like to be, but you know, we're here, it's growing, and it is still a happy camper, even if it is looking a little bit worse for wear. Next up, we're gonna get into a couple of alocasias. This one is the alocasia antoro velvet, and this was like so important for me to get this year because I'm obsessed with these leaves. Like the dark blackness of this plant, and like they're furry as well. This plant is so aptly named because the leaves are slightly velvety. They're not like velvet like an anthurium's velvet, but they're just like soft. They almost feel like suede because they've kind of got these little fibers on them. They're really cool. I think this alocasia is a little bit more difficult and sensitive than a lot of my other alocasias in general. I'm fairly good at alocasias, though I do tend to let them get a little bit leggier than they want. And this one is not an exception. Like, you can tell this plant is a little bit leggy. When I originally got it, it was much more squat and tight in its stems. They weren't quite as intense, and it did have way more. And unfortunately, it is down to the 2-leaf club, which is fairly common for a lot of alocasias. But in general, I'm normally able to get mine out of that sort of phase, and I've just not quite had the luck with this one yet. I have recently moved it to there on my sideboard, which during the day doesn't get tons of light, but in the evening it's got the grosgrain Claria bulbs, which are so incredibly bright that I'm hoping like 6 hours of really bright light in the day is better than like 12 hours of moderately bright, or like if I put it like closer to a window and it was getting moderate light but no grow light. I mean, even then, if that was the case, like it'd probably be getting 6 hours of moderate light in these sort of short days we have in the UK here. So this is the best spot I can put it in right now. It doesn't really fit in my Mills bow. I took it out of the Rudsta because it was getting a little bit too tall, and I don't think it's getting quite as much light in there. So hopefully I can get this one back to a better spot. Is it worth it? I'm a little bit unsure. I do love having it in my collection. I love a black plant. The next one you'll be seeing is also another black plant, and like I feel fairly similarly about it, but like I want this one to grow as best as possible, and so worth it in that I love having it. But if this plant were to die, would I buy it again? I kind of don't think so. And so in that aspect, maybe it's not worth it. I don't really know with this one. It's a bit confusing because I'm like a little bit conflicted about it. I feel both ways, unfortunately. And I feel fairly similarly about this guy, which is actually kind of hard to show you guys. This is my Alocasia Black Magic. Again, it's for this insane black leaves. They're right up my alley, just my style. And when I got this one, again, it was way squatter. It wasn't quite as leggy, the leaves. Not huge, but they were much more compact. It looked like a much more compact alocasia. It has grown out quite a bit. Like, it's cycled through a lot of leaves. And we currently have 3 in here, which I'd say is decent. It's not the best in the world, but it's also not the worst. But I did very recently put it into this no drainage vessel, which is a nice tall thin one, and I think that will help it because it did have a big chunk of stem in there, like pretty much that whole section that didn't have any leaves on it anymore because they just come off in the cycling process. But I wanted to get that under substrate in hopes that it would root. You can kind of see the like roots all up in this zone. These are the roots that it had in its last situation, and they're doing really, really well. It, again, loves semi-hydro. All of my alocasias love semi-hydro, but I want this one to live. I will do my best to make sure it grows well, but if it died, I don't know if I would replace it. I almost want to say it's not worth it. And actually, people warn me about both the Black Magic and the Antoro Velvet that they are a little bit on the pickier side of alocasias. So like, I kind of knew what I was getting into with this, but I was hoping like I would just figure it out, and I don't think I've quite figured it out yet. We're getting there, but in another year, maybe I won't have them. Who knows? An absolute success. Absolutely 5,000% worth it. My begonia bipinnatifida. Oh my gosh, this one is so freaking cool. So I got this as quite a small cutting, and it was just a rooted cutting at the time, and I immediately popped it into my pond box. Got it in semi-hydro in a little nursery pot here, and it's just been in my pond box basically since, getting 100% humidity and constant access to moisture. And it has grown so well in that freaking box. Like, I wasn't quite expecting it to do as well because I've also heard these are quite difficult plants, but it has been really, really good in that situation. I will say, if you didn't have 100% humidity, maybe it wouldn't work as well. And now that it's this size and basically trying to escape my pond box, I'm going to need to figure out a new situation for this. I think I need to slowly acclimate it to like normal room humidity or like cabinet humidity or something. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that, and it does make me nervous too, but once it does acclimate, I think it should be fine. I think it wouldn't do well if I just had it in the pond box and then one day I put it out in my living room. That would not do well for it, and so I'm not going to do that. I just need to take it slow with this one, and I don't think I've got time to do it before the end of the year because I'm going away at Christmas, but maybe after I get back, I can start the transition into a slightly less humid environment. But I'm obsessed with this one. I think it's so cool. These leaves are the craziest, weirdest leaves. They're so fun, and also, I completely forgot about this. During like the middle of the year or so, I pruned the top of this and I just binned the cuttings because it had gotten to the lid of the box on one stem, and I was like, I need it to branch out or something. So when I did that, that is when it branched into these two side branches here. The middle one was always there, but even the middle one has branched out from just above that spot as well, and has like really grown in, and I'm just so pleased with this one. So prune your begonias, guys. That is the best way to get them to grow well. I mean, maybe don't prune them as much as I did my sinbad and make it look bad, but absolutely worth it, 100%. I would get this one again if I lost it. This next one I actually only added to my wish list sort of mid-year this year because I started seeing them more and more and I kind of became obsessed. It is the syngonium chiapense, both the variegated and non-variegated versions. And honestly, I had gone off syngoniums pretty much completely for the past couple of years. I have not had any in my collection for a while because I haven't gotten on with them very well. And so adding these to my wish list and my collection felt like a little bit of a risk, but everything everyone told me about these, so true. Like this sort of thickness of these leaves, they're much thicker than your sort of average syngonium leaf, and I think I really like that they're much more rounded than the sort of traditional arrowhead shaped leaf. And I mean, the variegated one is extra cool. This one I have gotten very recently, so I'm working on propping it at the minute. I've just got it in a cup of moss and perlite. This one was rooted cuttings that, I mean, is doing quite well in there and growing roots and doing fine. And eventually I will join them together in one pot, and I will probably get it on a pole as well because these ones need something to climb. They would kind of climb similar to how a philodendron would, and I'm really excited for that and to see how it goes. And though I haven't had these for long, I have found them so much easier than my other syngoniums have been. They are so much less like thirsty. I found that a lot of my syngoniums were very thirsty and needed watering very regularly, even in semi-hydro, whereas these ones, I have it in soil, and it hasn't been like begging for water or anything. It's been fairly drought tolerant, and it's just been chilling. And that's what I like about a lot of plants. I like when my plants can just chill a little bit because it makes my life easier. And so the fact that this one can do that is great. Also, I love how large these leaves get. They are like the size of my face, quite big, and I'm pretty sure they can get bigger potentially as well. I'm not sure. Either way, I know I haven't had these for very long yet, and maybe my mind will change in 6 months' time, but so far I'm calling worth it on the chiapense. Here we've got the calathea network, and yes, I know it's not any sort of like rare, crazy plant. It was on my wish list. I had never had a calathea network before. I heard they are one of the more robust calatheas out there. I wanted to try it. I think it's beautiful. Unfortunately, mine has not grown very well at all. I did talk about this one quite a lot in my recent like plants I'm not vibing with video, so if you want like in-depth detail on that one, go there. But I've actually had a lot of struggles with this one, and I don't think it looks particularly nice how it is growing. You can see there's so many like dry spots and like new leaves that have come in that like don't actually come in and grow. And I think potentially that is because I popped it into semi-hydro. This is the first calathea I've ever put into semi-hydro because I figured they're similar to marantas and they like quite a lot of moisture, having constant access to that, and the best way for me to provide that to them, semi-hydro. I don't know if it liked that transition very much. Calatheas in general tend to have quite thin roots and then also like sort of tuber rhizome things. And so I have a feeling that the transition was not the easiest for it, and it caused a lot of like die off in the middle down there, because this plant is not looking full anymore, and the leaves it has grown in, if it has grown any in, I genuinely can't tell. Like obviously it has put out new leaves, and like there's a new one coming in right there. So like maybe it's working, but the leaves it has put in are like quite small, and it's also possible that I don't have it in the best of spots, but I've heard that these are like fairly low light tolerant, and I figured I could put it in a spot that doesn't get like tons and tons of light. It's not going to grow light on it, but I just don't think it lived up to the expectation of being like the easiest calathea out there, because I've had previous calatheas that I've like grown for years before they got like spider mites or other pests and then died. This one just doesn't look very good. Maybe I should try another one, get a fuller one, not switch it to semi-hydro, but I don't know. I would be tempted to replace this one if it did go south all the way, but they're quite cheap, so it makes it easy to replace a plant like this. Next up, we have a plant in this cloche here. Wing! This little bad boy is a syndapsus mayari, and it's doing so freaking well. I was a little bit nervous with this one, and that's why I didn't end up purchasing it. Actually, a friend very kindly gave me a cutting of theirs, which is like so incredibly generous, and I'm so grateful. And so I feel really lucky that I didn't have to spend my money on it to get here. But going back, I think I would definitely buy myself a mayari as well. I would do it again, because I think that at least this one has been growing so well for me. Yes, it has been slow, but that's okay. It's okay for it to be slow. It's a syndapsus, they tend to be quite slow, and it's variegated, so that's gonna make it grow even slower. But it's been so chill for me in this time. And even though I've got it, it literally lives down there, like underneath all of that other foliage, it's still putting out incredibly variegated leaves in here, which is so good. I couldn't ask for better. It is so cool. I'm so happy with it. I do need to take it out of the cloche at some point. Maybe I should pop it onto a moss pole. You can see all of these roots here. Or I could make like a terrarium jar tube thing. I could put it on like a piece of cork bark or something. I don't know. There's lots of options. I'll find something for it, but it did really like being under the cloche. I think it does like the amount of humidity it was getting in that, and so I do kind of want to keep it getting that high level of humidity, and so putting it in some sort of terrarium-y thing might be a good option. But I am so pleased with this one, and like, I love it so much. And then finally we have this guy here, which is supposed to be a begonia burkillii. I don't think it is a begonia burkillii. Like, it looks similar to the silver edge, but at the same time, the silver is like a stripe down the middle instead of it being all the way on the edge. That's kind of what's throwing me off here, as well as this one isn't flashing blue. I'll pop in some footage of it with my like iPhone torch on it, because that's how you see the light the best. This one doesn't flash blue at all. And also, are burkillii's hairy? I kind of feel like they're not. Basically, I got this from a friend. I bought it from them because they were like doing a bit of a plant clear out, and he labeled it as a burkillii, and I'm not saying that he was wrong, but maybe he was wrong and he didn't know it. I'm not mad at having this one, but I specifically wanted a burkillii. I am going to continue growing this one in hopes that I can get it to grow well, because it is still a cool iridescent silvery begonia. It's got like kind of adorable little hairs on the leaves and stems. It is super cute. So, I mean, does this even count in this video? I'm not really sure. If you know what sort of begonia this is, let me know. Because if it's not a burkillii, tell me, and then I can re-add that to my wish list. Because the burkillii is a wish list plant. It's one that I really wanted to add to my collection. I still would love to get the dark form with like they're like solid, this darker sort of black color, and they fully shift blue. It's really cool. I think they're an awesome plant. So that's still on my wish list. But I don't know if this is what I thought it was. I don't know. Please tell me if I am wrong. This one is just growing in a cup of moss. It is rooted in here, and it's got semi-hydro at the bottom to be a water reservoir. And it is rooted, but when I got it, it was like super duper floppy, and so I wanted to make sure that it was like I didn't disturb the roots too much. And I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to very easily switch this to semi-hydro based off of these roots because they're so thin, and a lot of begonias I've had, they don't switch very easily, so I might just have to keep it in this sort of semi-hydro moss setup. I could even throw some soil in there, sort of dirty spag situation, in order to continue to grow it further. So I have options, but if this is what the burkillii is, if this is a true one, I'd say it's not worth it. If it's not, the jury's out. But if this is a true burkillii, I'm gonna say no. So there we go. Those are most of the wish list plants that I got myself in 2025. I think I had a pretty good year getting wish list plants. There's definitely some that I didn't end up getting my hands on, and some that like I've taken off the wish list as well. So if you want to hear about the wish list plants that I have taken off my wish list that I don't want anymore, let me know down below in the comments and I can make a video about that in the future. Otherwise, I want to say a huge thank you to Nikki for joining in the Good Growing fam over on Patreon. If anyone else is interested in joining my Patreon, the lowest tier is £3 a month, and for that you get the bulk of my Patreon access, including bonus content and live chats and access to the Discord server and polls, all of that sort of fun stuff. The link is down below in the description if you're interested. There's also a link if you want to gift my Patreon membership to somebody else, or you would like to get it as a gift from someone. Memberships make a fantastic gift. You can get any sort of amount of time for that person and they can enjoy the Patreon as well. So the links are down below. If you want them, they're there. Don't worry if Patreon's not your thing. I totally understand. It's all good. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future. Did you get any wishlist plants this year that you thought were worth it or not worth it? Let me know, and subscribe for more. See you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!